Hey kids! And now it's time for Silly Songs with Brager, the part of the show where Brager comes out and sings a silly song. Today, we will be talking about an album from my collection, believe it or not. It's a long time coming. And the letter C for coming. This was an album that I wanted for a long time. And I just kind of had my eye out for it when I was out. I would kind of, look around, see if I could find it anywhere. And I didn't for the longest time until eventually I did. And it was reasonably priced. And as you can see by the back, this is Face Value by none other than Phil Collins. Somebody I'll be talking about a lot and I have in a previous video, and I'll talk about again in the future, unfortunately. Oh, so much to say about Phil Collins. I mentioned him before because he produced the album Chinese Wall, and I talked a little bit about that album in a video I did already that you can find on this channel. I paid all of $3. I think this is an accurate sticker. I paid all of $3 for Face Value. It's worth every penny and not a penny more. This is the debut album by Phil Collins. It starts out with, I'm not even going to say it. The first track on this album is a big one. It makes people do air drumming. In the Air Tonight. It's like, I think even young people like this. It's like this big part of our culture, the song, for some reason. Because it's great. There's definitely something about it. There's dispute between Tony Banks of Genesis and Phil Collins. Phil claims he brought In the Air Tonight to Genesis and that they didn't care for it. Tony Banks says he never played this song for us. That didn't happen. We didn't know about it. So who knows? Who knows? This album also, it has a cover. It's a cover of a Mike Rutherford song. The year before, 1980, Duke, another album I will be talking about in the future. I have probably more to say about than Face Value. Song Behind the Lines from Duke, awesome song. There's sort of a kind of more coked up version of on this album. Phil got permission, I guess, from Rutherford to cover his song. Man, what an awful cover. Although it's kind of cool when he did that reissue not super long ago, a few years ago, where he used the photo of himself currently at that time where he looks a lot older, because he is a lot older. That's kind of cool he did that. The first Phil Collins solo album. The man that just really messed up the 80s and 90s so bad. The man who never said no anytime a business opportunity presented himself. Now, we've all heard the name Phil Collins, but we all know it because he was the guy that did the Brother Bear soundtrack, right? That's the one we all know. But he also did this solo album. And he was in a rock band, believe it or not, before this album, too. Rock and roll. The Roof is Leaking is another song on this album. I think Daryl Sturmer plays banjo on it. So Phil Collins kind of took along the two Genesis members that aren't Genesis members. Daryl Sturmer, who plays guitar and bass, and Chester Thompson, I think was his name. Drummer who used to play with Zappa at one point, and also played with Genesis. And Weather Report. We're gonna, way down the line, we might talk about Weather Report. We might talk about one of their albums anyway, a little bit. I keep going this way and that. But In the Air Tonight is legendary because it's referenced in the song Stan by none other than Eminem. I will not be talking about Eminem in the future because I don't own any of his albums. My friend lended me the Marshall Mathers LP when that first came out. So that was a big part of my youth. And I did used to own, I had no idea what happened. I must have thrown it out or who knows. It was a long time ago. Back when this one was new, I also owned the Slim Shady LP. That was a good one. But alas, I'll never talk about it because I don't own it and I probably never will. But never say never. So there's at least one other cover on this album. The last song on Face Value is a cover of Tomorrow Never Knows, of all Beatles songs to cover. And I don't know if you can hear it in the background. I've got this shit playing, and horns are on it. Loved horns. Horns were also on, what are they called? The Phoenix Horns? They were also on Abacab, which came out the same year as Face Value. Abacab was probably the better album. I've listened to that one more. I haven't actually listened to Face Value a lot. I don't know where I bought this. I think at my hometown record store sometime around like 2000, who knows, 14, I don't know, shot in the dark. What was I just saying? It wasn't important. Oh yeah, I was giving the very great, interesting detail that I haven't actually listened to this album a whole lot. I listened to it a few times. Nothing really stood out to me. I don't even know that it's Phil Collins' best album. Not that I've heard them all. I haven't. I mean, I listen to Brother Bear, twice a week. But I mean, how can you escape it? It's everywhere. I guess it's not so different from his later solo albums. He was always kind of a pop sellout, huh? From the beginning. Well, not even progressive rock, really. Is this like a gatefold? I don't think it is. Oh, it is! I hate taking them out of the sleeves. There's the monstrosity himself. I have such complicated feelings about him. I'll talk about him more. In fact, very soon there will be another Phil video coming out. I mean, what is there to say? Oh, fun. Look, it says all the credits. It says all the instrumentation. Yep. Daryl Sturmer on banjo. The roof is leaking. Oh. Maybe just a quick. That's really all we need. Not a whole lot more to say in this video about good old Philip. The drum machine on it. He liked a drum machine, which I actually think is cool. I like that he liked a drum machine. Which ones did he use on here? Maybe the 909? I'm pretty sure he used 909 on at least some stuff. Does it say anywhere? Oh, an artist I talked about in a previous video. Stephen Bishop is on it. I don't even know which track. That's how much I care about this album and pay attention to it. Can you believe it? Yeah. Okay, well, apparently Stephen Bishop appears on one of these tracks. I might have to listen to this album again. And Eric Clapton, wasn't he on Careless? Stephen Bishop's Careless? Yeah, that's unfortunate. Why is Eric Clapton got to be on everything? This is the third, I think, the third album that I've talked about in this series that has Eric Clapton on it. I'm only a little ways into my collection of records, and there are 3, hopefully this is the end of it, 3 that have Eric Clapton. Let me just put this out there right now for the record, in public, before Crom and all. I don't care for Eric Clapton. I'm not sorry. I don't care for Eric Clapton. Don't. In fact, you know, even with Rolling Stones, I can point to a song or two that I actually like. I can't think right now of an Eric Clapton song, of a Derek and the Domino song. I can't think of Blind Faith or that other stupid band he was in the 60s. I can't think of a song that I like. I can't think of one Eric Clapton song. I don't even like While My Guitar Gently Weeps very much. I can't think of a Eric Clapton song that is good. I don't care for his guitar playing. Nobody cares for his singing. Is he dead yet? I don't wish for that. I don't want to give that impression. I don't. In all seriousness. But I can't say I would be super sad. I don't need to be an asshole. Is Face Value the best Phil Collins album? Well, like I said earlier, probably not. I don't know that any album is the best Phil Collins album. I don't know that any Phil Collins album is particularly good as an album. His voice is kind of weird. A man of many talents. And I gotta be honest, I mean, there's gonna be more of these videos. Maybe you'll see it, maybe you won't. There's gonna be a lot more talk about Phil Collins. But again, I don't own all of his albums. I don't own a ton of his albums or anything. Not the solo ones. I don't own Brother Bear. Can you believe that? I don't own a copy of the Brother Bear soundtrack on vinyl. Was there ever a record store day reissue 20-year anniversary of Brother Bear? If so, send me 3 copies, please. For my own personal use, not to give to anybody. They don't deserve it. An altogether forgettable album. I recommend it. Good night, everybody. And be something or not.